the summer morning begins. In the sun, growing rounder and rising, the old house warms to another day. For more than 300 years, Wolverton Manor has basked its southern walls on just such a golden morning. And the yeoman farmers who owned it have left its front door to join the daily round of the farm, and have followed the path which ends, in the fashion of all such paths on this island, abruptly in the meadow. As Jack Carver turns through the gate into the farmyard, the brisk sounds of departure mingle with all the light murmur of a summer's day. Some of the prize cattle they raise with such skill at Wolverton are off to the mainland for auction. A valuable island export this, bound for Yarmouth and the ferry, with high hopes for high prices. Westward from Wolverton runs the old military road. For many a lonely mile from Chale to the cliffs of Freshwater, the rolling downland marches with a sinuous coastline, a landfall black in the island's history with many a tale of smugglers and wrecks. Soon we turn northward to face England, to a gentler coast of friendly harbours, to Yarmouth, where the Lymington ferry lies waiting at the busy quay. With its motley cargo of farmers and school kids, motor cars and cattle, all the excitement of life in this little town ebbs and flows with its arrivals and departures. As it waits to make another of its urgent, predictable errands, the hush that always falls before a boat's departure suddenly descends. However humble the voyaging, it's always with a sense of adventure that we take to the sea. Messing about in boats has always been an Englishman's pastime, and nowhere can he mess about so happily as in the Isle of Wight. The Round the Island race is a big event of the yachting year. All sorts and conditions are drawn to it. About 1,500 people all told, for 150 vessels enter this race. Most of them are skilled yachtsmen. There's little room on board a racing yacht for anyone who can't turn a useful hand when a sudden squall blows up, or a sheet parts in a stiff breeze. The actual technique of sailing isn't really difficult, but there's more to a first-rate yachtsman than mere skill. An intuition, born with a love of the sport, a sense of water and sail and wind. In Uffa, it's something he grew up with since childhood. part and parcel of his zest for life.
The trouble for me is finding the time to do all the things I want to. Today, for instance, I've just arrived from sailing in Scotland and didn't have time to prepare my own boat, Fresh Breeze, for the round the island race. So I'm crewing for Max Aitken instead, which is always a pleasure with such a fine seaman as Max. Even then I'm having a rush to make it. My secretary has a tough time keeping me to the clock. But what's a man to do when life's so full? What with all the books in the world to read, and some to write, boats to design and build, races to win, a lot of fascinating objects he wants to collect, and him not being so young as he used to be anymore. And so I'm in a hurry to get to Max's schooner, the Lumberjack. That's her racing flag going up now. This means she'll soon be under starter's orders. This is a wonderful moment, moving up to the starting line, waiting for the gun. And then we're off, and the whole floating city is underway, making a beeline for where the wind is. Then it's hard driving to the Needles, 15 miles away, and beating the windward as fast as wind and tide will allow. Yachts of all shapes and sizes go in for this race. Here's number 14, Barbara Tobin's boat, a Bermuda sloop. Battling into it now with the sails holding taut and a real solid squall blowing up. Out of nowhere they come and as quickly go. But that's what makes this strip of water so much fun to sail in. This is what we need to keep Lumberjack really on the move. But what's a 45-degree lisp and a bit of water flying over the decks when you're living like this? We'll rant and we'll roar like two British sailors. We'll rant and we'll roar across the salt seas until we strike some peace in the channel of Odessa. then just as suddenly it's over. The squall blows itself out, and we're rounding the Needles into a calmer sea.
These are the golden days. The old tower, high on the down above St. Catherine's Point, looks out on a smiling sea. But the lighthouse keeper knows it in different moods. The great light with its polished prism shining out into the night guards a treacherous coastline, infamous for shoals and sudden fogs. To the visitors who come to see the lighthouse, the foghorn's booming reverberation seems remote on this soft day of summer. With the yacht sailing safely by under the cliff, their spinnakers ballooning out to catch every breath of the following wind along the southern shore. Over the gentle downland of the Wight, Tennyson looked from the high windy spaces that bear his name. Below in the valley is Farringford, where for 30 happy years he lived and wrote, letting the love he had for the island echo in his poems. To Osborne he would drive in the pony cart to take tea with the widowed queen. There, with the fountain plashing in the Italianate garden, and the bees murmuring in the flowers, she mourned her beloved Albert, haunted by the ballads that floated no longer from the drawing-room windows. And the happy laughter of the royal children that came no more from the silent bathing machine. "23 miles long and 15 across the middle. Everywhere in the Isle of Wight, you're conscious of the sea around you. It's always a satisfactory feeling to set off, keep going, and end up just where you started from without once turning round. So, sooner or later, by water or by land, everyone goes round the island. And there's plenty to see. Picturesque or historical, something for every taste. Carisbrooke Castle, for instance. I do not think, said Keats, I shall ever see a ruin to surpass it. And indeed, it is very massive. Its history, at least until the 18th century, was the history of the island. Its keep is a wonderful lookout. River, sea, and all the surrounding valleys from the Solent to the Channel. But it fell all the same. 400 Roundheads besieged it when England was torn by civil war. And later, King Charles I was a prisoner in its mighty walls. But little lingers now of a tragic past. The countryside of the Wight wears a comfortable countenance. Clear streams ripple beside cottages that have a calendar prettiness, thatched and neat like a children's storybook painting. Only at Newtown are there ghosts, for here was once the chief town of the island. Leafy meadows bear the names of busy thoroughfares, Quay Street, Silver Street, Draper's Alley. Deserted among buttercups stands a town hall, its charter and its famous fair long since gone. Reedy marshes, a silted harbour now, where once great ships lay at anchor and boats were built for Plantagenet navies.
Boats are still built along this coast, eastwards now from the bird-haunted estuaries to Cowes. Skill with sail and rope and wood is born into craftsmen's hands from long generations of the boat builder's craft. A new lifeboat bound for the perilous seas of winter. Or a new racer bound perhaps for triumphs in a Cowes regatta like the one which is now soon to reach its climax. Yachtsman, sightseer and prince, they all come to the Isle of Wight in Cowes Week, and royal indeed is the welcome they find there. Some for the summer and some for the day. Down they come from London and across the Solent by steamer. There's lots to be seen. All Cowes gay with bunting. Yacht racing going on all the time, and more than a chance of a glimpse of the Duke. The fun of yachting is shared by hundreds of people, thousands of people, more and more, all the time, all over the place. Wherever there's the right stretch of water, river, estuaries, or canals, even in the heart of London, there you'll find boats and people enjoying the thrill of sailing them. It's not surprising, really. We're a seafaring race, an island people, and even on the mainland, as on the Isle of Wight, you're never far from the sea. But here, I may be prejudiced, of course, it seems that all the world's full of it. Sea and sky, bunting and sailcloth, wind and flying spray, and sailing out from Southampton, the bright liners forever passing down the Solent and across the Western Ocean. What matter if the day should end in a wetting for the few who still have the rules to learn? Shipwrecks, as well as heroes, are part of the pattern of the summer day.
Visitors and the Catherine wheels come and go. Up on the downs, the annual miracle of the seasons turns towards the end of summer. Seed time and harvest, autumn and spring, the rhythm of life changes little here, though the sounds of progress mingle with the labors of the ever-running year. But the rolling downland and the cliffs that guard it, the dreaming villages and the folding valleys, these remain. Soil of England. It is as if the Wight were a fragment of our larger island, another precious stone set in the silver sea.